What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Good Game Reviews. Here to do another game review, and we are officially done with Week 10. Well, not officially done. We still have Monday Night Football, but as far as Patriot fans concerned, we're officially done with Week 10, and it is in the books. Ravens versus the Patriots. Patriots come out on top with the upset, 23-17. Man, if I look, I have to be honest. I was wrong. Okay. I thought that the Patriots would lose. I thought it would be at least by a field goal. I thought that they would make this a respectable match. Um, a lot of things that were screaming blowout, but I had a feeling that maybe the Patriots could keep it close. Maybe they could maybe they would still lose, but they'll lose by a small score. It wouldn't be this losing by 7 or losing by 10 or anything like that. But I just thought, hey, we take what we can get in this week and we move on to next week. But man, I was wrong. I can honestly say I did not expect to win today. I was hoping for one, but that was it. I was not expecting to win. I was just deep down hoping for one, but nothing close. Man, what a game. Especially if we compare it to last week's Sunday night matchup. I mean, this was probably one of the best games I've seen all season. As far as at least as far as Sunday nights are concerned, this was such a great game. You had it pretty much everything you wanted in this game, and I mean, weather aside, this really was a nice matchup. At least in my opinion. Now, if there's one thing I didn't take into account, it was the rain, which played a huge part in this game, which could explain why Lamar Jackson and the Ravens struggled so heavily on the offensive side of the ball. It was noted during the game that the center for the Ravens had a small cut on his hand, and if you mix that in with inclement weather and just injuries all over the place. I mean, it can spell disaster, and nobody really saw anything coming. They just thought, they was just, Ravens could get an easy dub here, but the weather and all the other factors played a huge part in this. I don't want to take that for granted. I don't want to just say, oh, the Ravens were just outclassed. I mean, we have to take that into account, like with everything that the Ravens were going through. Patriots got a lot of things in their favor, and Mother Nature is just one of them. So if you want to, hey, let's just count it. It's a dub. A dub is a dub. Like I said last week, a dub is a dub. Let me start off with the good first. I like to do the good, and then I go to the bad. This is a long intro, but my mind is just racing all over the place. It's been a while since the game ended, and I'm still just on cloud 9 right now. So let's just get into the good right now. Cam Newton had, once again had a respectable day. It wasn't anything just crazy. Like, he wasn't just throwing it all over the place or anything like that. But once again, he didn't turn over the ball. He didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't fumble the ball. Surprisingly with this weather, but he managed to keep the ball, in the hands of the offense. 13 for 17, 118 yards. Had one rushing touchdown and a passer rating of 114.3. Man, have yourself a day, Cam Newton. These are the games that he has to have if he wants to raise up that passer rating. Setting that aside, if he just wants to feel more confident going into these weeks, leading on to week 17 and whatnot, and hopefully, it's still in play, making a push for the playoffs. If he wants to, feel comfortable in all these games coming forward, building up that confidence, this is a game that can do that. This is exactly a game that they needed. They needed a win like this. Another guy I want to give some love to, Damien Harris. Now, Patriots fans are big fans of Damien Harris. I think Patriots fans were fans of Damien Harris as soon as he was drafted. All last season, they wanted Damien Harris to get his chance, wanted to get him a shot to tote the rock. We were having troubles running the ball last year. It's no surprise to anybody. And they just thought, why is Damien Harris being redshirted? Get him out there on the field. Well, we saw the same thing happen with James White. He was redshirted his first year, so I mean, it shouldn't have been too much of a surprise. But second year coming in, he gets his shot. Sony Michel's down. He's been dealing with injuries, COVID-19 reserve list, and all that stuff, being placed on IR, and he gets his shot starting week 4, and it's just been smooth sailing for Damien Harris, man. I mean, 22 carries tonight, 121 yards, averaging 5.5 on the ground. That is the number you got to pay attention to. The yards, they're great. He's getting the carries, that's great. But pay attention to what he is averaging on the ground. This guy is moving the rock. He is moving these chains. We have this is something that we have been hoping for a while now, is having a guy who can consistently, push the ball to where we don't have to worry about, these second and longs, these third and longs, because the ball carrier got stopped at the line of scrimmage. Like, these are the things that we have been looking for. And I know we found it in Damien Harris. He also had a long run of 25 today. Look, he was dealing with the chest injury. We weren't sure what his status was going to be coming into the game. He was a little iffy himself, talking before the game, as far as talking about his status and if he was going to play tonight or not. But obviously he played, and he came. He came to do one thing, and that is to run over the defense, because that is all he was doing. He was finding holes, just pushing his way, shaking off tackles. I mean, he was having himself a day, and that is exactly what you want to see in your runner. I'll go ahead and give Rex Burkhead a little love too. 6 carries, 31 yards, 5.2 on the ground. So I'll give Rex Burkhead some love. He's definitely, that kind of, that reserve guy. They got a nice little 1-2 punch combo working nicely with Damien Harris and Rex Burkhead. Obviously, they don't really work Damien Harris in the pass game like they do Rex Burkhead, but it's still a nice little 1-2 punch combo that they have with these two guys. Some more love that I like to spread. Jacoby Myers. Now, Jacoby Myers has easily, placed himself as the best wide receiver on the team, so far. Julian Edelman, he's dealing with the injuries. He's probably not going to return for the season. N'Keal Harry, he just isn't able to step up, whatever the reason is. But where others lack, he excels. Okay, and Jacoby Myers once again had him a pretty decent day. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 59 yards, average 11.8 per reception. Had a long of 26, and also threw a touchdown today. He also threw a touchdown. He threw a 24-yard touchdown to Rex Burkhead, which pretty much put the Patriots at 13-10. When the Patriots were trailing, they was able to get into the red zone. Jacoby Myers gets a little toss from Cam Newton, and he just delivers a beautiful drop in the bucket type pass to Rex Burkhead. And I mean, look, you could probably hear me from the next state over the way I just was just hollering on and carrying on. I mean, man, what a play. Okay. It's really been nice to see Jacoby Myers develop each and every week. And, things like this where they even trust him to carry out plays like this where, trick plays, like things that we would see Julian Edelman pretty much doing, these trick plays, these throws from the wide receiver. It just goes to show that the trust that he's building with, not only his team, but with the coaching staff as well. They trust him to make plays. And it doesn't matter what type of play it is. They're trusting him more and more going into each week, and that's a really good sign. And I'm very proud of him. Coming from his undrafted status to what we're seeing right now, he's doing very nicely. I want to give some love to Rex Burkhead on the receiving end of things, he had 5 targets, 4 receptions, 35 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had a touchdown from Cam Newton, and like I stated earlier, the touchdown from Jacoby Myers. Obviously, Rex Burkhead is, a very, very, important piece to his offense. He's able to, get those. I like to call them the sneaky yards is what I like to call them. Like just those just like the under the radar things that people don't recognize during the game. And you just go back and you look at everything and you're like, wow, like maybe they wouldn't be in this spot unless Rex did this, or unless they were able to get the ball to Rex and he did that. And that's just the things that you have to appreciate, and that I think we've all come to appreciate with Rex Burkhead. As far as the defensive side of the ball goes, I want to give props to Kyle Duggar and most importantly Terez Hall. Look, I will admit it puzzled me that Terez Hall got so many snap counts over guys like Jennings and Uche, and I understand that Terez Hall he has a different duty than what Uche and Jennings would do. Uche and Jennings are more along the lines of pass rushers. They're not necessarily going to be off the ball type guys. They're usually going to be on the line of scrimmage, battling with those offensive linemen. But Terez Hall, he has a different duty, and seeing what he was able to do last week and seeing what he's able to do this week. I mean, I have to give some love to him from just jumping up from the practice squad and putting together performances like this. You have to be, impressed with this. And it also, makes you question when Juwan Bentley comes back, who outsnaps who gets more snap counts, because the longer Juwan Bentley stays out and the longer Hall, performs like this, things come into question, things start jogging in people's heads like, oh, who do we actually want out here with the green dot? Okay. He had 10 total tackles, 2 assists. Kyle Duggar, he led the team in tackles with 12 tackles, total tackles, and 5 assists. Seeing Doug out there also as much as I saw him out there was a nice sight to see. His snap counts have also been kind of limited, but it was apparent that they needed him in this game. They needed his athleticism, especially with Lamar Jackson and what he can do. I think they just saw that this was the perfect opportunity to get Kyle Duggar involved in this game. Kind of a linebacker type of player that they had him playing like. You also saw at one point where he was coming off the edge, full steam at Lamar Jackson. It's just, it worked for this game, the way that they used him. And it was, I thought it was a pretty smart decision of how, they decided to use these players. Also, another point I wanted to touch on, if you were watching the game, you probably noticed that Chase Winovich and John Simon were playing off the ball, almost like they were playing kind of like coverage or whatnot. And I guess, that was just, specifically for Lamar Jackson, making sure that they didn't get, beat with his legs. Now, Lamar Jackson still found ways to make plays with his legs, but that's because, that's Lamar Jackson. He's going to do things like that. But I thought that was a pretty interesting scheme that they came up with. So I want to give some praise to the coaching staff on this one. Well done. I know that was a pathetic clap, but yes, well done to the coaching staff on this one. They came up with possibly the perfect game plan, for this Lamar Jackson led offense. I guess if I had to guess, they looked at what happened with the Colts last week, and they was like, maybe there's something to this. Maybe he's not as invincible as he seemed last year. We can definitely come up with some things, against this guy. And it's certainly showed in this game. I mean, they limited this team to 17 points. Let's not just waft over that. This is a Lamar Jackson led offense, a running team in the rain, limited them to 17 points. That is you have to give praise to that. Also, give some love to John Simon. He got a sack. Same with Josh Uche. He got a sack pretty much on his first play. He comes in and he's rushing the pass the opposite end. You got Chase Winovich on the other end. They come in, they crash down. Josh Uche is able to get him a sack. Look, these are just things that I believe the Patriots coaching staff are going to pay attention to. They're going to look at this stuff. Believe me, they are going to look at this stuff and they're going to see we probably need to have this guy out here a lot more than we've been having. And it was very noticeable tonight. I'll go back and look at the snap count, but it was very noticeable tonight how many, snaps that Josh Uche was getting tonight. They had him on the field a lot more than, way more than I've seen him throughout this whole season. So building on things to come, I think they see that, this works. Having him out here rushing the passer and instead of Bauer, all the time, like they're noticing, hey, this something works with this works. This works, and I think they're going to build off on this formula, and they're going to use this against, mobile quarterbacks like Kyler Murray going down the line and Deshaun Watson. So look forward to that. Also, I'll give some love to the punter, Jake Bailey. 4 kicks, averaged 43.3, a net of 172, had a long of 52, and down 2 inside the 20. Jake Bailey, he had himself a nice game, especially with this weather. Didn't drop the ball. I think that was probably one of the more impressive things I saw. The fact that this Patriots squad wasn't fumbling the ball and wasn't dropping the ball. It wasn't slipping out of their hands a bunch of times. Like it was with the Ravens. But I mean, they found a way to keep their hands on the ball. So. I just got to give praise to that. But Jay Bailey also had him a nice game. Now, it's hard to do this, especially after such a good win like this. But I have to get into the negatives. And the first person that I want to point at, and not so much that he did a bad job, but just once again, he wasn't really a factor in this game. And he wasn't one of the reasons why the Patriots won this game. And I have to, give this to N'Keal Harry. As far as first round busts go, I'm sorry. I probably just have to go ahead and say it. Maybe they just didn't factor him in the game plan a lot. Maybe, his game is still yet to come. Where he has an explosive game, where he's the player of the game. But so far, we haven't seen that. And it is quite disappointing, especially him being a first-round pick and, all of this hope being placed on him before the season. And maybe that's our fault for expecting so much. But, I mean, he has not been a factor. And in this game where, he finally comes back and, where we pretty much, need him to, help boost this offense a little bit more. I mean, just wasn't able to do. Now, there was times where he had some cool blocks. I'll give him that. But other than that, he just wasn't a factor as far as the offense went. So, I got to criticize him on that. As far as any other negatives, I believe at times, this defense got a little too comfortable. Allowed some conversions. That I think could have, easily been stopped. This team obviously still has a little bit of trouble stopping the run. That was obvious on a couple plays. We just have to do a better job. We can't depend on games like this where it's just raining crazy and, balls are slipping out of, our opponent's hands and, making it easier for us to tackle them in the backfield. We have to get better, at containing quarterbacks, and we have to get better at, getting pass rush. Now, it was a little bit of an improvement this game compared to some other games in the past, but that's something they still have to work on. They still have to work on getting pressure and limiting these drives. Um, also, I this isn't so much as hate, but you know, Devin McCourty, he had a chance to pick the ball off, and you know, it kind of dropped off his hand. This was like near the end of the game where you know a pick pretty much seals this, and he gets the ball and he could either run for some more yards, and we have an opportunity to kick a field goal and put it further out of reach for the Ravens. But you know what? I'll give him a pass on this. Heavy rain, all that stuff. You know, I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide. But really, that's about it. I mean, like I said, I was pleased with what the coaching staff was able to draw up on offense and defense. I was pleased with Cam Newton once again being careful with the football and you know not putting the team in jeopardy. I was pleased with Jacoby Myers, Damien Harris. I mean, it's like I can go on and on and on, but you know this was just a solid game all around, and this was a very important game for the Patriots to win, especially you know considering that a lot of people, including myself, had this chalked up as an L before the season even started, to be honest. So to see them come out and you know get a dub like this, and it really has to feel good, at least for Patriots fans, you know. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Next week, we are moving into week 11. That will be against the Houston Texans. I will, of course, have the prediction video ready for that. Hopefully, I can do it a little bit earlier. You know, I noticed that I do these predictions on Saturdays because I want to just wait until all the information comes in because, you know, a lot of last-minute things like players who might play or might not play come in on Saturday. So, you know, I try to, you know, keep an eye out for that. But I'll hopefully I can get prediction videos out a little bit earlier, you know, and just give my updates like you know people would, you know, through social media and things like that. So look into that. Yeah, we'll look into that. Like I said earlier, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, I'm out.